Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so if I stumble over my words moving forwards, apologies about that, and also apologies if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well, if there's any lag, anything like that at all. Sadly, it can't be helped, and hopefully it is not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision 2024 related video here on my channel, and it is time, dear viewers, to tell you my top 37 of this year's lineup for the first time. As always, you're very welcome to let me know your thoughts on anything I discussed today by leaving a comment down below, and as always there are links in the description to my other social media pages. Check them out if you so wish. So the reason that it is only now, as we're approaching the end of March, that I am going through my ranking of this year's entries is because I didn't actually rank them until very recently. Years ago, when I was clearly more invested in the competition, I would have a spreadsheet on the go. I would be putting in the countries as and when we received their songs, when national finals took place and things like that, and I'd be moving them up and down as I saw fit, and I would always have some sort of ranking on the go. But in recent years, I just haven't really been doing that. Yes, I do still have a spreadsheet. I have one at the moment, and I do use online sorters and things like that, but now it's usually when we have close to or the full lineup that I actually think about putting them into some sort of order of preference. What it's like for you, I don't know, maybe you're the same. Feel free to leave your top 36 or 37 in the comments if you so wish. It will be interesting to see where our opinions differ. It goes without saying, don't take this too seriously. Nobody should take rankings seriously at all. It is simply a bit of fun. Countries don't usually move up or down significantly for me, but occasionally a country might move up 7 or 8 places or might move down 7 or 8 places. Of course, Eurovision is still several weeks away, so until we see the staging, until those live performances occur, this ranking absolutely should not be taken very seriously at all. Anyway, what I will say before I get into this is Israel is not actually included in this list. That is because the website that I am looking at here, which has my ranking on it, does not involve Israel. But what I can tell you is that out of the 37 songs that we have this year, Israel is about my number 33. So certainly not that high. Just bear that in mind if some of you are wondering why I haven't really included them as I go from bottom to top. That's the website, not me. Anyway, let's crack on, shall we? Beginning with number 36. And my number 36 of the year is Moldova, as I think is the case for a lot of people. In the middle, by the returning Natalia Barbu. I just find this very forgettable, unfortunately. Wasn't a huge fan of the national final performance. We know that Moldova can really go big with the staging, but something tells me they probably won't with this one. And there are many other stronger songs this year, absolutely. I'm looking at this list now, and it really is, in my opinion, a very, very decent year. There are lots of songs that I'm really enjoying. Unfortunately, somebody has to be bottom of the pile, and this year for me, as of right now, it is the Moldovan track. My number 35 is Azerbaijan. I know. This is Ozun Leopard by Fahri featuring Ilkin Dovlatov. I think this is so low down for me right now because it is a fairly recent song that's come our way. It was only released a few weeks ago, so I haven't really had time to really digest it, if you see what I mean. I like the instrumentation, I'm liking the vocals, I'm just finding it all a little bit too dull. But that doesn't mean I dislike the song. Of course it doesn't mean I dislike the song. It's just that there are other tracks that I am much preferring as of right now. My number 34 is Iceland, and I think this is the lowest I've ranked an Icelandic track for a very, very long time. Scared of Heights by Herra Björk. For the record, had it been Wild West, that wouldn't have been much higher in this list at all. I was rooting for Into the Atmosphere by Sigga Usk. But there we are, what's done is done. Herra Björk is another returning name, of course. She was there in Oslo in 2010. Scared of Heights is fine. It's a pretty feel-good number. But the staging, the whole performance at Song for Kepnin was fairly unimaginative. and I can't imagine at Eurovision it's going to be a great deal better. For an up-tempo song, this really doesn't do much for me, and clearly a lot of other Eurovision fans as well, because I've seen very, very few people rank this song anywhere above 30th. So the omens aren't good for Iceland, and I usually love what Iceland bring to the table. I absolutely support them pretty much every year, but this time around it's likely to be an NQ yet again. Then I suppose we have Israel, but number 33 here is Albania. This is Titan by Bessa. The revamp, as I've said previously, I think it sucked the power out of the original tune. It isn't too bad. They've sort of changed it from what it was to something a little bit more pop in style, I guess. Bessa is a fine singer. I've no problems with her. I just feel as though she deserves a stronger tune. It's as simple as that. I'm not sure Albania will be qualifying, but this is a country that has had a habit in the past of sneaking through, perhaps when we haven't been expecting them to. So if this was to make the final, I wouldn't be too surprised. But for me, I'm just not really thinking about it much. It's not really staying in my head for too long. It's my number 33 here. My number 32 is Finland. What a downgrade. I know I keep repeating myself here on my channel, but honestly, I cannot believe what a downgrade this is, especially when you consider that we have Sarasipola, one or two other songs in UMK this year that were better than this, in all honesty. It's No Rules by Windows 95, man. The performance at UMK was really, really not very good, and I'm hoping it's a hell of a lot stronger at Eurovision, because this could absolutely veer into car crash territory, which wouldn't be great to watch. I feel that it's a cringeworthy number. I can't really get into it. It's clearly a bit silly. It's clearly a bit of a jokey entry. And sometimes jokey entries do work. You really can just be swept up with them, go along with them, have a good time for 3 minutes. But this one, I don't know what it is about the song / the UMK performance, but I just wasn't invested at all. I just found it a bit too silly somehow, and vocally pretty naff. So Finland is my number 32 of the year, and one thing's for sure, had it been Cyan Kicks, had it been Sarasipola, Finland would be significantly higher here. But what's done is done. Will Finland qualify? Possibly. Will they do well in the final? Possibly not. We'll have to wait and see. There's nothing much else to say about this one. I just find it disappointing. Moving on to my number 31, and this is Spain. Oh my god! Yes, I know. Again, had this been Angie Fernandez, could have been a different story. In fact, I can tell you right now, had it been Angie Fernandez, Spain would have been in my top 6, I would say. Instead, it's Nebulosa with Thorra. This is growing on me, but not much, and I think when Eurovision comes around, Spain might move up a couple of places, absolutely. I like the sort of empowering message I guess this song has. I need to look at the lyrics again, to be fair. The performance at Benidorm Fest wasn't too bad. Guys with their butt cheeks hanging out. It was all fairly randy stuff on stage. I imagine it will be something similar to that in Malmö. This could do fairly well, but at the same time, it could really, really flop on the night. So it's very, very difficult to predict how well Spain will do this year. It's really just a case of, there are other songs that I prefer, and this Spanish track, I don't think it stands out enough for me personally. Then we have my number 30. This is a song that I've really gone off over the past 2 months or so. It's Luxembourg. This is a fine, credible entry for a nation that hasn't competed in 3 decades. It's tally with Fighter, but it's a bit like Iceland's entry, in the sense that it's an up-tempo number, but it's not making any sort of impression on me. If you're going to have a big pop song, it needs to have something about it that makes it memorable, that makes it stand out amongst all of these other songs. And Iceland's entry certainly doesn't stand out that much, if you ask me. And Luxembourg's entry, it's a similar story. I've sort of gone off it, quite significantly, and as such, only position 30 for the returning Luxembourg. Number 29 is Latvia. This is Hollow by Doms, a very capable live singer. The staging will be key. It's probably going to be quite static. If it is, it's not really much of a shock, but that could be this song's downfall. Not enough movement. Again, I use that word. Not enough memorability. I really hope Latvia do qualify this year. I'm just not expecting it to happen yet again. So what do they do next year? I really don't know. It's a fine ballad. It's a very fine ballad indeed, but I just don't know where the love is going to come from. My number 28 is Germany. This could grow on a fair few Eurovision fans moving forwards. Isaac with Always on the Run. Again, we have a male singer here who is more than capable of singing this song very well live. He was great in the German national final a couple of months ago. He was really good. The song, it's okay. The problem with Germany is that they've had okay entries over the past few years. They've just not been competitive enough. And this song is another great example of a song that I think most people find all right. But it stands absolutely no chance of doing any good. The bottom 5 is likely for Germany again this year, I'm afraid to say. But it's not a bad song. My number 27 is Georgia. I've heard this song about 3 or 4 times now and still can't remember how it goes. The chorus, yes. The verses, not a clue. Not a clue. This is a little bit on the messy side. It needs tightening up just a bit, and obviously that's not going to happen now because we have the final studio version. But maybe the live performance will be splendid indeed. I think there's going to be some choreography. Oh yes, oh yes. This is Firefighter, of course, by Nutsa Buzaladze. Again, it's not bad. There's just other songs that I'm preferring. Gotta move on to 26. Slovenia. This is Veronica by Raven. I am surprised more people aren't really loving this, by which I mean have it in their top 10. There is the potential here, again, for fabulous staging, great live vocals, lots of drama, very atmospheric, very moody. This could be really, really good, but again, I think it could be lacking support. I thought Joker Out, with a very different song last year, of course, I thought they were going to get more points than what they actually ended up with in the grand final. Should Slovenia make the final again this year, I can see something similar happening again, where the points total that they end up with is perhaps underwhelming. Not a bad song at all, and it has a message behind it. Song 25 in my ranking is Ireland. This is Doomsday Blue by Bambi Thug. I am either going to really enjoy this when Eurovision comes around, or I am going to go off it completely. I don't think there's any in between here. Bambi Thug, I've got no problem with them. The song is quite risky for Ireland. It's so different from anything they've ever sent. It's so different from anything else in this year's lineup, which is a pretty good thing because it helps it stand out. But Ireland have struggled so much with the public in recent years, and the same thing could happen again. A lot of people might tune in to that first semi-final in May in Malmö, see this on their television screens, and they might be completely put off by it. It might not be their thing at all, which means no points will pour in, which means Ireland will really struggle to get out of another semi-final. If this does make the final, it would be very refreshing. Like I've just said, it would absolutely stand out a mile. I want to like it more, I just can't at the moment, which I know sounds silly, but it is what it is. Moving on to number 24, it's Australia. Yeah, I do like this one quite a bit. Maybe I was put off by the ultra cheesy lyric video. If there's a more official music video down the line, maybe that will help people's opinions change, actually. Which is interesting because it's just a music video, not the actual song. This is Electric Fields with 1 Mil Cali 1 Blood. I'm liking the didgeridoo in this song. Nice voice. We know Electric Fields can really deliver the goods live, so I think this is one that for now I'm holding back on. But once Eurovision comes along, the live performance, That could be quite something. I have predicted Australia to close semi-final 1 in May. Whether that happens or not, we'll wait and see. Yeah, absolutely. If anybody's not really a fan of Australia's song right now, maybe opinions will change for the better when the first semi-final takes place in May. Moving on to my number 23, this is Serbia. And I feel as though Serbia is a bit low in this list, but it's a very strong year, in my opinion. There are lots of songs that I'm really enjoying. This is a great ballad. I use the word dramatic again. It feels that way. Teodora with Ramonda. There's a bit of a message behind this song as well, absolutely. It's quite powerful, stirring stuff. I think she could be alone on stage, totally commanding that stage in Malmö. I look forward to it. I think this is a qualifier, but it's my number 23 for now. My number 22 is Malta. Maybe a few places too high, I don't know, but it's Loop by Sarah Bonici. This is just a fine pop song. It's not doing anything amazing or original. I don't mind it though. It's my number 22. I imagine the performance will be perhaps on the saucy side a little bit. Some male dancers, that sort of thing. Maybe recreating what we have in the music video, in all honesty. Malta do struggle pretty much all the time with the public, so I'm not expecting this to go through. If it happens, I'd be happy, but I think Malta will be staying in the semi-finals yet again this year. Yeah, it is a little similar to Slow Mo. I've seen comparisons online made between this and Spain's entry from 2022. They are similar, there's no doubt about it. Not the same, but definitely you can hear and see some similarities. So in terms of originality, Malta's song is really not ticking a lot of the right boxes. But it's an alright pop song. My word, what a ramble. Moving on to 21, this is Greece. Zari by Marina Satti. I like her voice, I like the energy, I like the confidence and the sass and the video and the quite lovely traditional instrumentation that we have going on. But the song just isn't really my cup of tea. That's it. There is no other reason. A lot of people have compared this song to the music of Rosalia, who I'm familiar with. I've heard some of her work. And I like her and what she's trying to achieve. But this sort of urban rap style, it's just not really my thing. However, live on stage in 2 months' time, this could be electric. Right now, though, Greece is my number 21. My number 20 is Czechia. We have now got the revamp of this song. I haven't heard the revamp in full. I hold my hands up. I'll be doing that shortly. But this is, of course, Pedestal by Aiko. Bit of a rock number. It's been so long since I first heard this. It's not bad. Don't expect it to qualify, though. Then we have 19, Armenia. This is a lot of fun. Puts a smile on my face. Oh, yes. Absolutely wonderful and traditional and very crowd-pleasing, I imagine. It's Yako by Ladaniva, the male-female duo. Really lovely. Could be a massive success after Eurovision. A bit like Rosalind a few years ago for the very same country. My number 18 is San Marino. Yeah, I mean, this is up my street. Megara with 1111. I wanted something more, maybe, from the song. The music video is not too bad. The performance at the San Marino National Final was okay, but that was on a very small stage. I think they need room to excel, and obviously the stage in Sweden is going to be much bigger. Yeah, absolutely. They are a Spanish band, so Spain can vote for them, because Spain are voting in semi-final 2, I believe, and San Marino, of course, is right there among Italian territory, so Italy, who I think can vote in semi-final 2 as well, that's probably a minimum of 18 points or so already from 2 countries. If a few other countries are on board with this one, maybe San Marino can sneak into the final. It's wishful thinking, I know, I'm not expecting it to happen. But I expect a frantic live performance. Hopefully it's not going to be too all over the damn place. but I'm expecting a pretty tight, enjoyable 3-minute performance. My number 17 is the UK, my country, Dizzy by Ollie Alexander. I said it when I heard the song for the first time and reacted to it on my channel. I'll say it again now. This song is pretty decent, but really lacking that little extra spark to make it truly stand out. He has performed this live already. He'll be performing it live several more times moving forwards before the contest. That's great. He definitely needs to start promoting the hell out of this song a lot more, because things have been very quiet for him, I would say, so far, especially here in the UK. There's not been much talk about this song at all. Certainly not in the press, not that I've seen. Anyway, it's so much better than what we were sending several years ago. The days of Electro Velvet are long gone. However, I would not be surprised if this really struggles for points in the grand final in 2 months' time, particularly from the public. The juries may appreciate this because it's a pretty well structured and produced pop song. But the public, yeah, I think they'll just prefer other things. My number 16 is France, Mon Amour, Slimane, great vocalist, big star, classic ballad. It's going to be a pretty good performance. What else is there to say? It's my number 16. My number 15 is Lithuania. Some people love this. I'm not quite on board with it yet. 15 is not a bad place though for Luktelk by Sylvester Belt. He's a pretty engaging performer. He had dancers on stage with him at the Lithuanian national final. It's got a throbbing beat, real momentum to it. There is a diaspora vote for Lithuania, so that will play a part, but this will still get points from all over Europe, I'm sure. So the top 10 beckons, I would say. It is a pretty decent effort. My number 14 is Poland. This is The Tower by Luna. Yeah, there's something quite light-hearted and pleasant about this tune. I like her, don't mind her voice. Poland might not do terribly well this year, but I enjoy it for what it is. My number 13 is a splendid song, Portugal. This is Grito by Iolanda. Great performance at FDC. Take what you've got, elevate it a touch for Eurovision. Fantastic. This is just so peaceful, yet powerful, very beautiful. I really like her. Her voice is really quite wonderful, and I'm hoping Portugal get a good result this year, because this is a total breath of fresh air. My number 12 is Ukraine. Absolutely one of the favourites to win. Yet again, Ukraine delivering. It is Teresa and Maria by Aliona and Jerry Hale. Do need to listen to this song again in full. Absolutely, it's been a while. There's something, again, like with Portugal, quite calming and gentle and mellifluous about this track. And I would be absolutely gobsmacked if it finished outside the top 10 in the final. And it's not often I really enjoy a Ukrainian song, I must say, but this is decent. My number 11, Denmark. This is Sand by Saba. Recently I've been listening to the runner-up in DMGP quite a bit. This was Johnny by Basim, the 2014 representative. That would have been a great Danish entry at this year's contest. Instead we have Sand. Not bad. Not bad at all. She sings it well. The performance at DMGP was perfectly fine, if you ask me. I do think Denmark will struggle to get points in the second semi-final. That is a very tough lineup, that second semi-final. So if Denmark were to progress, it would be a very impressive result indeed, especially after years in the wilderness. 11th is maybe a bit too high in all honesty, but I enjoy it, no doubt about it. And Denmark have a habit of doing this. Songs that at first I might not be such a fan of, and then when it comes to actually ranking the tracks, Denmark are usually in my top 10 or just outside my top 10 pretty much every year. It's remarkable. Anyway, shall we now get into the top 10? And I'm going to be as quick as I can with this. My number 10 is Cyprus, Liar by Cilia Capsis. May well open semi-final 1 on that Tuesday evening this May. It's very basic, it's very uninspired, but I'm enjoying it. I can have a bit of a boogie to this one. Cilia is 17, 18 years of age, can't quite remember, from Australia. This could be a really good live performance. You know that there's going to be choreography. You know that they're going to be trying to elevate this significantly, because surely they'll be aware that a lot of people aren't completely on board with this track. I thought it would be more popular than it is, in all honesty, but most people that I've seen have Cyprus ranked about 25th or 26th, or even lower than that. And I think that's because it feels so bland to so many people. I agree, it is a fairly vanilla effort, but I like it. It's my number 10. My number 9 is Sweden, the host nation. This is pure manufactured, straight out of the factory pop. It is Marcus and Martinez with Unforgettable. They're Norwegian, so that's points from Norway in the bag. The performance at Melfest was clearly very slick, very well done. This light up corridor almost, dancers. I don't like the way the song ends abruptly. I feel as though it runs out of steam near the end, and they're rushing to get the song crammed into 3 minutes, if you see what I mean. But there's no doubt about it, it's clearly a very fine entry. And Sweden will open the grand final. The juries will probably love this, the public not quite as much, but another top 10 result is on the cards. My number 8 is Austria. When this was released, well, even before this song was released, fans online were wetting themselves with excitement. Then it was released, and people were gushing about it like you wouldn't believe. I think the momentum has died down a bit, as expected. This is, interestingly enough, co-written by the same person who has co-written Unforgettable, which I just mentioned. We Will Rave by Colleen. She has Eurovision experience. She's been behind the scenes, she's done this, that and the other. She's a choreographer, dancer, what have you. This could be really, really tight. This could be a very, very impressive stage show in Malmö. It's going to qualify almost certainly. Could do very well in the final. I don't know about the vocals. That doesn't really matter at this stage, I guess. But it's a very good sort of throwback, rave-type number. I'm enjoying it. It's my number 8. My number 7 is Estonia. Some people online now, not that I've really been scrolling through a lot of comments at all, but some people I've seen have said Estonia could be a shock NQ. I don't think so. I think this is going through. It is Vis minus and Pulup with Nendes Narkutikumides de Teama Kulmidagi. And this is obviously a little bit on the silly side, but nothing like Finland. This is catchy and engaging to watch with the dance moves, and there's traditional instrumentation. It's a really interesting blend of, I suppose, those traditional elements and a more modern sound, I guess. Very, very different for Estonia. I know people in Estonia are loving this, and I think a lot of people across Europe will enjoy it too. It's definitely not a winner. It might not even finish in the top 10, but surely this is a qualifier. It's my number 7 of the year. Had it been Ollie, Estonia would still probably be my number 7 of the year. My number 6 is Europapa by Joost Klein, the big hit so far of this year's competition. He's doing well in terms of streaming numbers, number 1 in the Netherlands, number 1 in Belgium. That's quite impressive. This is, again, a rave-type song. This type of music, I know, is very popular in the Netherlands. It was popular all over Europe pretty much, especially in the 90s. It has this sound in the final third. I was expecting it to be like that all the way through, so I had apprehensions before this song's release. Thankfully, it was a little bit more, not calmer, but you can sort of see what I mean. It wasn't so in your face from the very start, which was nice. I think this is fairly accessible. A lot of people will see this as typical Eurovision, you know, quite crazy, quite out there. The live performance will be very interesting. He has performed it live, haven't seen that performance yet myself. It's bound to do well. Could win the public vote in the final, but the juries, that could be a different story altogether. Nevertheless, the top 10 awaits as far as I'm concerned. Good stuff, and it's a different sound for this year's competition, and that's very welcome. And it's in Dutch. also very nice. And it's very touching for him. It has a personal element to it. That's nice. That moment in Malmö, if it ends on that rather somber tone, that could be really powerful, absolutely. Anyway, my top 5. My number 5 is Switzerland. This is Nemo with The Code. Fantastic. Heard it again recently. This melding of singing styles, of genres, I suppose. It'll be interesting to see what happens on stage. How is this going to be staged? I mean, in the music video, he's on a train. They're not going to have that in Malmö. So I imagine there'll be quite a few costume changes. Because this song, I believe it's about his non-binary identity and things like that. So we could see him shedding former selves on stage. And then at the end, when it sort of goes a bit operatic again, we see Nemo's true self. I can imagine staging like that, where they go through multiple different outfits, trying on different outfits, etc. It's a fantastic entry, quite daring. I do think it all comes together quite nicely, now that I've heard it a few times. It is a contender for the win. My number 4 is Italy. Oh boy, this is a contender for the win. And I think because it's been a while since Sanremo, it's almost as if this particular Italian entry has been brushed aside a bit. Mark my damn words, if you put a bet on Italy to win right now, you could be quids or euros in May. This is La Noia by Angelina Mango. We know she's a good performer because we saw it at Sanremo. It's a good song. This sort of Latin vibe going on for 3 minutes. It builds up and builds up. Rich instrumentation, catchy. That a cappella thing towards the end, that's a real standout moment. The juries will be like, hello. And I'm sure the public will as well. Italy usually do very, very well. And this is very likely to challenge for the win this year. I don't know that for sure, but I'm expecting Italy to be up there getting a lot of points in the final. Absolutely. I like her voice, I like her confidence. Absolutely fantastic. It's my number 4 of the year. My number 3 is Belgium, Before the Party's Over by Musty. Oh yeah, this is just a sublime piece of music. Again, builds up, and then we have that release at the end, almost as if the frustration is pouring out of Musty. The music video is great. The choral element also fantastic. This feels like a bit of a James Bond theme, in all honesty, which is no bad thing. It's really, really very, very strong. The juries should love this. They should love this. The public, if they know what they're doing, should absolutely be dishing out a lot of points as well. I would be thoroughly, thoroughly dismayed if this finishes anywhere but the top 10 in the final, because it is too good to finish anywhere but the top 10. Anyway, Before the Party's Over, fantastic. Fantastic for Belgium. That leaves 2 tracks, and if you've been paying attention, you'll know which 2 countries are left. And what's wonderful here is that my top 5, certainly, they're all very different. We've just had a ballad. Now we've got this sort of gothic type entry, I guess. Norway is my number 2, Ulvehan by Gotta. This is really very impressive indeed. Won MGP fairly comfortably in the end. Was it fairly comfortably? Why am I saying that? I think it was a 1-point win. Or what am I talking about? I can't even remember. But Kano was second, weren't they? And Gorta won. And this absolutely was the right choice, if you ask me. Dramatic, atmospheric, elemental, flashing lights, big notes, traditional, in the Norwegian language, ticking so many of the right boxes. This is a contender for the win. It might be, you know, not one of the major contenders at the moment if you believe the betting odds and things like that, but I think this is in with a serious chance of victory, and if it happens, I would not be mad. Not at all. That leaves Rim Tim Tagidim by Baby Lasagna for Croatia as my winner. This is the ultimate glow-up, as I've said previously. Over the past 20 years, since the semi-final format was introduced in 2004, Croatia has been a personal qualifier once in all those years. And now, Croatia is not just a personal qualifier for me, but possibly my winner of the year. It is the ultimate turnaround, and to think that this wasn't even going to be in the Croatian national final lineup at first. Remarkable. This is just catchy, intriguing, interesting, enjoyable. There's real momentum, this sort of chugging melody. Absolutely fantastic. What more is there to say? I've listened to it so many times, I've not become bored of it yet. And the live performance in Malmö is going to be even stronger than what we had at Dora. Hopefully the vocals will be stronger too. The energy, the vibrancy, absolutely. It's doing well in terms of streaming numbers. A lot of people outside of Croatia are aware of this track already. Yes, the signs are good for Croatia. Do I think it's a winner? It's a contender, let's put it that way. If this does not finish in the top 6 in the final, it would be mightily surprising. Anyway, that's it. My ranking of this year's songs. I apologise for waffling so much. My voice is starting to ache a little bit, so it's time I shut up. But let me know your thoughts on that ranking. Like I said, don't take it too seriously. It is just a bit of fun at the end of the day. I feel as though I repeated myself multiple times. But there we are. Croatia, Norway, Belgium, Italy, Switzerland, my top 5. And my last place is Moldova. Really, I would say out of the 37 songs we have, I'm really enjoying at least 30 of them, which is a good number because it's not always that high a number of songs that I'm really into. And I'm really enjoying this year's lineup. Can't wait for the contest to begin. I'll be back with either a reaction to the semi-finals running orders video, or it will be an early rough prediction for the semi-final results, or it will be something else. I don't know. I want to try and get out quite a few videos over the next week or so, and then move on to maybe other bits and pieces as we enter April, the last month before the contest is actually upon us. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and feel free to let me know which songs you're really enjoying this year. Maybe a question for you. Is there a country or countries that right now you don't have ranked too high, but you have a feeling you'll be ranking them much higher by the time the contest is here? And maybe the other way around. Maybe you've got a country in your top 10, you're just starting to go off it. You can see yourself ranking that particular entry maybe 15 places lower by this time next month. Whatever it is, leave a comment, leave a like, all of that good stuff. Much appreciated. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and bye for now.